Did we have monsters on that first map?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
they were set.
So, that's right. There was a whole book, and the monster, and so the monsters were numbered, and so you'd have to look up what number the monster was, and then it would tell the character that monster's stats. And this was back in the days.
That was more like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, this was back in the days of like agility and dodge and resistance and all the stats. So that was very complicated. We had cards that students could buy that like built walls on the map, and then we could add turrets to the map in case someone had a wyvern to fly.
That was great.
It was so complicated.
There's about 5 teachers in the United States of America that could play this.
Welcome to the Gamify Education Podcast.
So now let's add the complication. So here's a poster with the added complications on the bottom, and I'm going to put the image up on the screen right now.
And this was the giant teaser at the end of the book, is that nothing that was available so far with these hero posters had these special powers for each character.
Right. And so each poster has special powers that are only, they're skill specific to these characters.
So when you were saying at the beginning that for the base level of the game, all the characters are the same.
Right.
That's for everything on that poster except for the bottom part.
Right.
So now if you notch up the game, now these characters are different.
Right.
Because each one has unique.
So if you go into level 2 of the game, like if you wanted to be, like if you played this for a year and you're like, I've got this, let's add this complication, and you wanted to move into the next level of this game as a teacher, you would add this.
All right.
And this complication is where now the characters have abilities that are special to those characters. So, for instance, on this knight poster, you can see right here, this little thing at the bottom that has the arrow and the ×1. That allows you to re-roll any of your attack die when you use that ability. Now, the way that mechanic is unlocked is that you see the little lock icon there. A student has to spend a level up to unlock it. Now, with a gold economy, you can also attach a gold.
Sure.
You have to spend a level up.
This is what your gold is used for. Unlock.
So basically, it costs 2 boxes to unlock a lock.
But the most important part about that is that these special abilities only get unlocked at certain levels.
Yeah.
Like for that first power, what is that, level 10?
Level 20.
Level 20.
Yeah.
So a character has to get to a level 20 before they can unlock that special power.
And right now, the way that I am running it in the classrooms is the kids have a little card with all of these on them. And then if they get a hit, they can use that power once in a battle. Now, you had an idea, and do you want to explain that?
Yeah. So there's a lot of different ways that you can go about using these special abilities.
Yeah, actually, let's explain how we did it in our classroom, because I think is the best way, but it's the most work. And so I don't want to just offer that out there as the solution, but it is a solution that I think is cool, which is to?
So we let the kids buy a blank die, a blank D6 die.
Using their gold.
Yeah. And then they could buy a power, which was a sticker. So we just printed on like the vinyl sheets on a colored printer, just tons and tons of these icons.
Tiny little stickers.
And then when they wanted to buy it, that we would give them a sticker, and then they would stick it on to this blank die. So now all of a sudden, 1 out of their 6 faces of the die is filled up.
Yeah.
And then when that showed up, when they got a hit, then they could use that power.
Right.
And if it was blank, then it didn't show up.
Right. And that was fun. That was very cool.
And that is a good way to do it.
But it is also a lot of work to cut out these, to print, like have these, to keep track of these tiny stickers, to get them to the students, to put them on the die. What happens when a student loses their die?
Right.
Like that kind of stuff. It is a headache. I'm not like, it's a complication.
So I think I got a better idea.
Okay.
But I've never actually experimented this myself.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to throw out the way that I'm doing it with a card, and the students get one to use it once per round. Works.
Okay.
It worked like we're talking basic game here.
All right.
On a basic level, it works.
I got 2 really good ideas. I
Okay,
think.
let's hear
I'm
them.
going to start with the higher complexity one.
All right, let's hear it.
So before even like the year begins, you just make a bunch of these D6 dice with stickers already on them.
So for each character would already have theirs built.
Yep.
And so there's 6. I mean, I don't need to put it up there. I'll just put it. These 6 here.
So there, yeah,
yeah.
six powers, 6 sides of your die.
Yeah.
And then there's a card that goes with it that shows if you unlocked it or not.
Yeah.
So just once again, it's just a kind of a remembrance of, oh, okay, I'm a level 20 and I bought this one. Okay, I get to use this. So every time it shows up, then that's going to do its effect.
Right.
So having the pre-made dice, I think, is a very good way to do it. I also have another idea.
I think something in the future that would be really cool for us to be able to provide to teachers is the ability to just go buy these. Like if we could have someone make these die and then just have them for sale, so teachers could be like, "Oh, I'll just buy a classroom set of these." It wouldn't be that expensive because it's just die. It'd be neat.
I like that. The other idea is that kind of like how the hit takes effect, that it would be the same thing. So the first die that you would ever get is your attack die, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it would be a different color. It would be like a gold attack die. And the gold attack die is the one that is going to unlock your special power as well.
So every time you roll it, if you rolled a 1, that first
That
lock.
would be your first one if you unlocked it.
Yeah.
And if you rolled a 2, then it would be your second.
Right.
So every time you have an opportunity to unlock something, if you've unlocked them all.
And then, just thinking off the top of my head, it could literally be that any of your attack die, the numbers on there would allow you to use. That would be a lot.
That would be a lot.
But the more power you get, the more power you have. Right now, the way that I'm doing it is like the 1 use per battle, because battles aren't very long. It adds a layer of strategy to the game because they're thinking, how can I use this power? When should I use this power? So there's so many levels to this and how you can implement it, and it's really just up to your imagination on how you want to implement it.
And especially if you're the type of teacher that not that big into games, your students will have ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. They will tell you the best ideas.
That is 100% the truth. Like, let's be clear. A lot of what we built here is farmed from ideas from students.
I remember the very first version of our game. There was this kid, and he said, Mr. Becker, it just isn't that much fun anymore because you weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And that was really the moment that changed the whole way of thinking going forward.
Yeah.
Of how can we make this more exciting? And it was a student idea that did it.
Yeah. And I think that once you get into this, if you were playing this game, 8 Heroes, and you got into it and your kids were into it, you would within a month realize we can add to this very simply. And then it really does just become one of those things where it's like you start the year thinking this is very complicated. And then you end the year looking around the room and being like, how did I build all of this stuff? How did all of this get added? And how is it working so well? Because it's the students that take the ownership of the game, and they're the ones running these things. Like, I'm not filling in posters in my classroom. The students are. Like, when I'm leveling them up, they're coming back for their weekly conference, turning in their XP. We're conferencing, we're discussing their work, how they did on their homework, like what they can do to improve, what they need to work on. I give them the amount of times they leveled up, and then I tell them how many boxes they get to go fill in, and then they go fill in those boxes. Yeah. And so it's like they're taking a level of responsibility here. Like, okay, so should we go to the 3rd level?
We could.
We should.
All right.
All right, let's go to level 3. Did you bring a dungeon tile?
I did.
Let me see that dungeon tile.
Now, this is the original.
Okay. This is a prototype.
This was like the original dungeon tile.
Oh, yeah. Nice. All right. So that, I don't know why I'm doing that. I'm just going to put it on as an image on the screen. These dungeon tiles are what we played in our classroom. And so we had these 3x3 magnetic dungeon tiles. And we bought magnet paper on Amazon, and we printed these off, and they had an adhesive side. And so we would stick it to there and then cut them out. And so we had these tiles that built a dungeon on a magnetic whiteboard in our classroom. And
So let me back up a little bit here.
yes.
Okay. So first year we were ever playing, we used like a Google Draw thing.
Yeah. And it was we had discussed this before, but
Yeah.
just
And right. So we were doing a Google Draw thing, and we did it so that all 3 of our classrooms could play together.
Right.
Right. But we ran into problems.
yeah.
One of them was you always had to fire up the projector. But a second big problem that we alluded to with kind of our philosophy behind this was we didn't really want this to be like virtual. We didn't want
Right.
this to be a video game.
Right.
These students were getting enough video games. We wanted this to be more of a board game.
Right. We wanted it to be an analog experience, something that's happening with real materials that's like, because you can then adapt that to any situation in your life. Like, but it's also, it was more fun.
It was more fun, but it really is hitting the philosophy that this is not just more video games for these students.
So in version 1 of this, all the students lived in a big virtual map, 3 classrooms. We had 3 classrooms, you, me, and then our other teaching partner. We lived in a big virtual map, and the students each had an icon on the map that we would move with the little up-down arrows on this map. And then students would then, if they ran into each other on the map, they could battle. Did we have monsters on that first map?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
They were set.
So, that's right. There was a whole book, and the monsters,
yeah.
and so the monsters were numbered, and so you'd have to look up what number the monster was, and then
the
it would tell the
stats.
character that monster's stats. And this was back in the days.
That was more like Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, this was back in the days of like agility and dodge and resistance and all the stats. So that was very complicated. We had cards that students could buy that like built walls
Yep.
on the map, and then we could add turrets to the map in case someone had a wyvern to fly.
That was great.
It was so complicated.
There's about 5 teachers in the United States of America that could play this game.
Oh my gosh, it was so complicated, but it was so. I still have that binder with all those cards in it. That was so much fun. But we ended up the next year moving to a pixelated map that you had built using like a pack, a sprite pack that you had bought. Looked very like Zelda-esque. It was kind of like second Zelda, the NES Zelda is what it looked like. And so we played on that for a year. Then the next year, I used a program called Incarnate, which is, I think, still available and a great program. If you're a teacher out there and you're interested in kind of doing this and you wanted to use a virtual map, like you can build, we know a couple teachers that built maps for their classroom on Incarnate and then printed them off. It's a cool program for being able to build like maps. It's originally designed for building like Dungeons and Dragons maps. And so doing campaigns on that, but it's got a whole bunch of assets that are basically just like stamps. Like you can stamp a whale, a well,
Or probably a whale,
probably
too.
like the bones of a whale. You can stamp a ship. You can stamp things in your map and just kind of make a cool thing. And I made this massive map, like because I had just played the game Breath of the Wild, and I was like, we need to have climates that they can go to. So we had the winter world up in the corner, and then we had the desert island world, and then we had the desert world, and then we had the forest world, and then in the middle was the big castle and the citadel, and like the city where they can go, and inside the city they weren't allowed to battle. It was the marketplace and things like that. This thing was huge, and we covered it.
This was the coolest part of it.
We covered this whole thing in a fog of war is what it's called. And so the whole thing was covered in clouds virtually. And these clouds you would piece together like puzzle pieces over the map. And so as students moved through the map, we would delete these and it would expose more and more pieces of the map. And so they were discovering this map and going through this world and exploring it. It was still, to this day, it was very cool. Like there was nothing wrong with this concept, but it was just a lot of work. And so we wanted this idea of the fog of war, this idea that this map is new, like we don't know what we're building, and so we came up with this tile concept.
And hold on here. So this is really where this came from.
Yeah,
like Mr. Lamberson gave me a Christmas present one year.
Yeah,
and it was a board game, and it was a dungeon crawler, and the idea was like you were building this game board.
Yeah,
which made it so that every time you played it, it was something unique.
Right.
It was something different.
So you're exploring like rooms in a house. And so then you go through and you mix up the pieces and you put them down. And as you walk in, it's a new room and you don't know what that room's going to be.
We thought, how cool would that be if we could do that with this?
Yeah. So you designed these dungeon tiles in all these different rooms. And I don't know how many we have, like hundreds of different rooms that you can go into, and some of them have poison gas in them. Some of them have vines that hold you down, and some of them have ice, and you slide right across. Some of them are electric
tiles,
electrocute you if the switch is turned on,
and like, the switch is in another tile.
I mean, and like this was maximum fun.
It was
because the students all started on different parts of the board, and we measured it out so they had their home places to start. But as they built the dungeon, pieces started connecting and they met up with each other and connected. And some of the dungeon tiles had monster icons in them, and that means there were monsters in them. And then they'd have to fight these monsters. That there were abilities that you could get within it. You can get the feather, which allowed you to.
Oh yeah, that
like there
that got nixed though. There's no more feathers.
There was just so much we could do with these tiles, right. and then we had this whole thing where it's like the map reset, and we started fresh with a new map where everyone was in the middle and then working out, and then we said, okay, at the end of the year we made this staircase appear. And we said, you have until this certain point to get to the stair.
20 days
to get to the stair. Because if you don't get out the dungeon, you are locked in the dungeon, and you don't get to the end game.
The end game.
And so they had to decide, like, kind of, because they're exploring the dungeon, trying to get like more advantages and stuff.
Right. And this is really important from a gaming perspective, is that not everybody's like the same.
Right.
Like some people are going to they're just going to want to fight. Any opportunity they have, I'll go battle.
Yeah, we had this whole thing like when we first were researching like game design. We learned about the different types of gamers,
and like, one of them is an explorer.
Explorers, completionists, fighters, like things like this. We had all these different types. So we tried to build this game for all the different types of people all the different types of people.
And this was a really important idea that we decided was, yes, you are definitely going to get stronger in the game for the learning, for the XP, for the level up and things like that. But we also wanted you to get stronger by playing the game the best. So we put these random treasure chests throughout the maps. Even when we did the Cloud of War, there were treasure chests.
Treasure chests, yes. But there was monsters attached to them.
Yep. So you had to fight the monster. If you won, then you got the treasure chest. And we had like a wheel.
We had a big wheel, yes, with all these fun things you can get on it. I mean, we're at the most complicated level that you would want to be at, I think, but it's so much fun. It was the best. But the wheel of treasures is what we called it. And so if they opened a treasure chest, they'd get to, we used wheelofnames.com. Most teachers know what this is. It's like you can just, and we had created one with a bunch of pictures of different potions. I think we had potions on there. We had, so we had all this stuff on there. Potions would be used to cure your HP during a battle.
And some were like just 10 free squares or 5 free squares or 3.
Yes.
So you got more powerful on your poster
by exploring the dungeon
and opening up these treasure chests.
Yeah. So then we get to this, you got 20 days to get to the staircase. And some of the teams were trying to block other teams by like turning on electric tiles and then having one person just camp to leave to make sure they're turning, because one switch would turn it on and then there would be another switch you could turn it off. And so they're just this back and forth and the strategy behind that. And one whole team got locked in the dungeon in my classroom. And then once they got out, we had this big arena that they were all in. And then it was the whole idea is they were fighting to the last person as that arena shrunk because we had lava closing in to make it smaller and smaller so that they couldn't avoid battling each other.
There was so much we did. One thing that we should point out was how you got to move in the dungeon.
Yeah.
That was always based off of their level.
Right.
So if they were they were anywhere from 10 to 19, they only got to move one space. If they were 20 to 29, 2 spaces, 30 to 39, 3 spaces.
So the amount of 10s your level has is the amount of moves you get to make. So if you're a level 100, you get to make 10 moves. If you're a level 8, you get to make 8 moves, so on and so forth.
I think I capped it because I'm more of a strategist and Mr. Lamberson is so free in his rules that a level 120 got to move 12.
Why not?
Sure.
It's just fun.
But the best part, I think, of this whole dungeon thing was when we put ourselves into the game.
Yes. And so originally this was 6 heroes. Until the last year that we played, we added 2 heroes because we wanted to be in the game with the students.
They were having too much fun, and I was not.
Yeah.
I mean, I was having fun watching them have fun. But me, I'm very competitive. I love playing games.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't I just play with them?
And so we made these characters, and you made for yourself the alchemist. I mean, you in the book. I call you the architect, and there's this whole thing in Parks and Rec about the architect too, like the game designer. Yeah, the Cones of Dunshire. You're the architect. But anyways, so you're the creator of the systems and how like the basic mechanics of how they work. I am really the one who stress tests things. Like that's my I stress test them. I am an experimenter. I play with different variables. I can usually see what's going to make things more fun or less fun. I like that's the oracle part of me. I'm chaos.
Then I rein them in.
Yep. But I wanted a character called the Mariner because I love the Mariners, the baseball team. Grew up watching them, and so I have a character that is the Mariner. He looks like this.
But we changed it so that and I thought that there was some wisdom here, is that we made ourselves like the bad guys. We called ourselves the dark heroes.
Yeah.
And like we were the ones trying to...
We were just creating chaos in there. Like we were going through and just trying to like...
But then all of a sudden, the students weren't looking at like each other as like... the bad guys. Like, they would have been happy if any one of those teams would have won, as long as the teachers would have lost.
Right, because the whole thing was then we had to get out of the dungeon as well, so that we could get to that final battle.
We locked ourselves in prison, and then the monsters had to unlock us. And
That's right.
And then we got out.
Yes.
And then we were max stats chasing down these students. And
it was so much fun. And so we were getting out so that we can get that final battle. And then at the end, the students had to defeat us before they could get
one more thing,
the victory. And then it was the team that won that final battle won the game. Because we had this whole idea of like, there needs to be a clear winner to the game. Because otherwise, what are we doing? Like this is
not a game.
It's not a game then. Right.
One thing we did though, was we allowed like 2v1 battles. And like if you were able to strategize and you were working with a teammate,
right,
and you both got to the same opponent at the same time,
right,
then all of a sudden it's 2 people versus 1 person, or 3 people versus 1 person,
right.
And that was a lot of fun when that happened.
Oh, I know. That was so much, because then you can all say, "Oh, we're gonna run together in this dungeon so that we can go fight this one monster that's powerful, or go try to fight us in this game." But yeah, I mean, that is maximum fun.
It is.
It really is. I don't think there's a better version of it. I mean, if we were to play it again in a 5th grade classroom at that level, I think that we would find ways to make it more fun, but we really did. Like these dungeon tiles were the coolest. And what did we play it on? Like a 4x8 whiteboard that we had in our classroom that was magnetic. And so in the back of all of our classrooms, we had a 4x8 whiteboard that was magnetic. And instead of using it for whiteboard stuff, we used it for this. If you don't have a 4x8 whiteboard, like in your classroom, and you wanted to do something like this, Google Draw works perfectly fine. Like the whole idea of like using a fog of war, you could create something like it. But
those whiteboards aren't that expensive.
no, they're not. You can get a magnetic, or you can get, I mean, honestly, you could get a sheet of metal, like sheet metal, and just galvanized metal and stick it up in your classroom and make it work. Like this is not that hard of a problem to solve if you wanted to do something like this.
I do want to end this in a specific way here, Mr.
Okay.
Lambert.
Were we going to do quote corner ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
This
good.
is what I'm going to do.
Okay, good.
Okay.
No, we're turning the tables this week.
Right.
You've informed
so
me.
So I am going to give you a quote, but I would just want to re-emphasize, okay, this single piece of paper can transform your entire classroom.
Yeah.
One piece of paper for each student.
Right.
I mean, there is so much power in that. And this is one of my favorite quotes.
All right. Now, so for quote corner, these quotes are either real or they're from a movie. So I'm already going to guess that this is a real person.
It is.
Because you don't watch movies. So 1 point for me. But I have to guess who this person is. Yes?
And you did say that there is no overlap. Okay. There is overlap here. Okay. So thinking about this, one of my favorite quotes is this. I think I did pretty well considering I started out with nothing but a bunch of blank paper.
Walt Disney?
Good guess. Steve Martin. So I think a lot of it, I'd have to get fact checked on this, but when he was big into the SNL and he came up with all these skits, I think I did pretty well because I started with nothing. Right. And this whole idea of a blank piece of paper, a single piece of paper, and what you can do with that.
Right.
Like that whole low floor, high ceiling type of thing.
Right.
Start low. Start with one piece of paper and just put one idea on it or use the idea that we have.
Right.
And all of a sudden you're stacking pieces of paper on top of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think anybody in the United States had more fun in their classrooms that last year than we did together.
I would agree with that statement. We had a ridiculous amount of fun with those students. And also I want to throw on top of that, I don't know if anyone got more learning within one single year than we did in those, our rooms. Just
the type of school we were at.
The wild amount of learning that happened, aside from like maybe some wild like experimental academy, but like within a public school classroom at a Title I school.
I had 7 different languages, home languages spoken.
I don't know if more learning happened than what happened in those 4 walls of our classrooms.
Not many.
Not many.
Not many would have beaten us.
Yeah, with the learning and the fun. Yeah, it was a great year.
It was.
All right.